Hey guys, it's Lakaya here. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a story time. Well, technically not today because it is extremely late at night, but Declan is not sleeping, so I thought that I would do a little bit story time of how I found out I was pregnant, what I went through during my pregnancy, the comments that I got, my family's reactions, and all that, considering I did not get it all on film. So basically that's all we're going to be doing today. Declan is playing on the floor, rolling around, crawling around, making noises, trying to get to toys, to, straggling clothing hanging out on the floor and stuff. So if you hear him in the background, that's just him. He's just hanging out right below me by my feet. But yeah, let's just get right into it. So before I actually got pregnant, I had absolutely no intention whatsoever of getting pregnant, at least for not a long time, considering I was only 18, I had just graduated high school, I had no friends, I was working 2 jobs, I was just not prepared whatsoever to have a baby. But when I did find out I was pregnant, I have got to say I had probably, I guess what the most expected stereotypical reaction a teenage girl who was not planning on having babies anytime soon would have. Well, the story is I went into town one day. I was one day late on my period, but that had happened before, so I was never really worried actually about being pregnant. Tyler had joked about it before previously. But it was just joking. We were like, "Oh no, you're not pregnant. There's no way." But I went to town to pick up my paychecks for my 2 jobs, and on my way home, I kind of just had like this gut feeling. It was crazy because I was like, "No, I'm not pregnant, but just in case, I'm gonna get a couple tests." So on my way home, I stopped at the store and I bought First Response, and I went home. Well, Tyler was in the kitchen cooking pork chops. This was a few hours later. He was cooking pork chops, and I thought, well, I have to pee, so I'm just gonna go do it, right? Better late than never. So I went into the bathroom and I peed on it, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to look at it, and I just kind of scrolled through my phone for a little bit, and then I look over accidentally. I was not purposely, intentionally looking at this test, and I look over and I see 2 bold, big pink blue lines, and I swear my heart dropped. I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. I was like, there is no freaking way I'm actually pregnant. This is not happening. This can't be happening. No way. Tyler and I were not in a good spot in our relationship right now, which I will save for another video to tell you the story about that. But I was just so surprised. I physically could not believe that I was pregnant. Like I said, I'd been late before my periods. I had, I was not experiencing any symptoms. I wasn't nauseous. I wasn't, well, I guess I was moody later on when I told one of my bosses that I was pregnant. She was like, "Oh yeah, I already knew. You were so hormonal." And I was just like, "Thanks for not telling me." But no. I was absolutely not ready to be pregnant. My physical reaction, let me just give a basic demonstration about how it went. I looked at the test, my heart dropped, and I was just like, "Oh, hell no. Hell no." And then the volume just slowly progressed and got louder and louder until I was saying, oh, like, I could not believe I was pregnant. I opened the door to the bathroom super fast. Tyler was cooking pork chops. I said, "Tyler, get your butt in here. You need to see this." He's like, "What?" He didn't even know I was taking the test. So when he goes and he looks on the side of the bathtub and sees that there's a pregnancy test right there with 2 big-ass bold lines, he's like, yeah, that's about how he reacted. Thanks, Declan. But no, we were just both so surprised. Like, how could I be pregnant. There's no way. No way. There was no way. Like, it's not like we weren't exactly taking 100% precautions. Like, we were using condoms, but I wasn't on birth control, and, I wasn't planning around my ovulation, but it was just something that we physically could not grasp. So, my next reaction was to leave the house. I left. It was like 10, 11 o'clock at night. It was late. It was dark. We lived in town. I left the apartment and I just walked around town and I called my mom. I called my mom and I told her what had happened, and she just basically told me, you know what? It's okay. You can do this. You're gonna be fine. She called my sister, told my sister that she didn't want me to be alone at the time because, like I said, I was not planning on having kids. Me and Tyler's relationship was not exactly 100%, so she was basically trying to help, get as much support as she possibly could, considering she lived quite a bit of ways away. So it's not like she could just come over, hug me, give me love, she couldn't. So she was doing everything she possibly could. So my sister ended up coming and spending the night that night. I did not tell my dad I was pregnant until a couple days later, although he did ask, because it was a little suspicious that my sister was coming to spend the night at my house at 11 o'clock at night on a school night. So my dad did ask. I just ignored his messages for about 2 days. But so that's about how that night went. The next day, the night before, when I was on the phone with my mom, she told me that she was going to take me to Planned Parenthood, get an official pregnancy test, make sure that, I was really pregnant and that it wasn't just a false positive, which I didn't take the 2 tests the night before just because I didn't think I was pregnant, so I didn't save my pee like most people do, but I did not do that, so I couldn't take both tests, and I was, in such shock that I couldn't believe that I was pregnant. So we went to Planned Parenthood, and we got the test, and they told me, yep, you're pregnant. And I was like, no way, you're kidding, right? This is some weird, sick joke that you're playing. And they're like, no, you're pregnant. And my mom was like, honey, you are pregnant. There is no getting around it. Sorry, you're pregnant. And I was like, oh. And I do not regret having my son. But at that moment, everything that was flashing through my head that could possibly go wrong. Like, I couldn't go to college now. Not that I didn't have the opportunity, and not that I can't go to college eventually, but, it kind of, in my mind, it was, this sudden pregnancy did keep me, in my mind, from going and doing things that I really wanted to do. Like, I was going to go to college for music, and I was going to, get a good job, and Tyler and I were going to get a new place, but the minute that doctor told me that I was pregnant, all of that just stopped. Like, every single goal that I had disappeared, and pretty much it was just like, that's not going to happen anymore. But I went home. My mom and I got McDonald's. I got McChicken sandwich because at that moment I really craved a McChicken sandwich. I don't even like McChicken sandwiches. I don't even really care for McDonald's or fast food or anything. But sorry about that. Declan started kicking my chair. So we went to McDonald's. We got some food, and I went home. And I swear, Tyler and I probably spent close to $100 on pregnancy tests. Even after I went to Planned Parenthood and they confirmed that I was in fact pregnant, we probably spent around $100 in pregnancy tests just because we could not believe that I was pregnant. And I will tell you, every single one of those tests stayed positive. It did not change. There was no negative. There was no doubt that I was pregnant. And it was just crazy. It was crazy. It was so hard to believe that I was actually pregnant. Like, even now, looking back on my reaction, I truly believed that I was not pregnant. But I was, obviously, because now I have a beautiful baby boy. But who is rolling around and playing with his pants on the floor. Declan, what are you doing? Hey, buddy, what you doing? What you doing? Anyways, fast forward to, you know, when I started going to the doctor and stuff. I did not actually schedule my first doctor's appointment until I was about 14 weeks pregnant. And the reason for that was just I did not have health insurance. I was 18 years old. I had just graduated high school. I had no idea even how to go about getting health insurance. And so I didn't have health insurance, and it was just a lot of money to just go continually to the doctor every 4 weeks. So I didn't even really get a doctor's appointment until 13 or 14 weeks. But the week after I found out I was pregnant, I started bleeding, and I found out that I was 6 weeks pregnant by then, which is crazy that I didn't realize how far along I was before. But but I ended up having to go to the emergency room and get an emergency ultrasound, which is how I confirmed how far along I was. But just because I was bleeding, and I had no idea that nothing was wrong. But I went in, and it was apparently normal. I did not find out until my 30-week ultrasound that it was more than likely a cyst in my ovaries exploding because the baby growing, which I didn't find out because they never called me after that first ultrasound, so that was wonderful. But anyways, through my whole pregnancy, for the first, I would like to say from about a week and a half after I found out I was pregnant till a good 16, 17 weeks, I had major morning sickness. And I shouldn't even classify it as morning sickness because this sickness, this nausea, lasted 24 hours a freaking day. Like, I'm not even kidding. I worked at two places that deal with food, and being there at all just made me physically sick and nauseous. The only thing that helped was lemon water and Jolly Ranchers. And I swear, Jolly Ranchers were a heaven sent because that kept, sucking on them helped keep my mind off of how nauseous I truly was. I never actually physically got sick at work, so that was good because I needed the money at the time. So I never got sent home, which was awesome. But it was really hard. It was really hard. I did, however, make it through, which is good, which if you are going through the same thing that I did, you can get through it. Just try to focus your attention on other things instead of how you're feeling at the time, because the more you concentrate on how sick you feel, the worse it's going to feel. It's not going to go away. So that's what Jolly Ranchers did for me, is they kind of helped take my mind off of how sick I was feeling. But like I said, I had super amazing bosses at the time, so, I just really lucked out. Basically after that, everything went really smooth. I did not get stretch marks at all. Not even at the end of my pregnancy. I never once had a stretch mark, which doesn't mean that you're not going to, but I didn't. I don't know why. I'm a really small person, and I got really big. I gained 40 pounds. Sorry, Declan's getting down beneath my chair and messing with things. I don't even know how we got all the way over there, but I never got stretch marks, so that was great. Heartburn. Heartburn was so bad. The only thing that ever helped me with heartburn were bananas and yogurt. And, a lot of people say, oh, that doesn't really help. That didn't really do anything for me. Dairy didn't really do anything. But I swear, potassium and dairy helped a lot for my heartburn, which I guess I had heartburn because Declan came out with a full head of hair. So, not that that's a true thing. You don't always get heartburn when your babies have a lot of hair, but mine did. So, sleeping with a big belly, like I said, I was a really small person, or I am a really small person, really petite, short, skinny. Sleeping was difficult for me just because, Tyler and I, we slept in the same bed. We only have a full-size bed, so, you know, it was difficult to find comfortable positions that, basically I could sleep comfortably in. I had to have a pillow between my knees. I did not have a pregnancy pillow, and the reason was just because we did not have the money to get one, and even if we did, our bed was too small, and one of us would be sleeping on the couch. So sleeping was kind of a pain for me. I did go into labor at 28 weeks, and I didn't know I was in labor. I was in labor for like 3 days. Luckily, nothing ever happened. I only progressed to 1 centimeter. But when I finally ended up going to the emergency room, and, you know, they tested my blood, and, you know, they did a bunch of tests, they found out that I was, in fact, dehydrated. So if you are pregnant at the moment, make sure to drink lots of water, because it did send me into preterm labor. Luckily, after like 3 bags of fluids, which is a lot, I know, I'm sorry, I don't drink a lot of water. I didn't drink a lot of water. I learned my lesson. I do drink a little bit more now, but, you know, after I found that out, I did drink a lot more water. But if you are pregnant, drink lots of water, because it did send me into labor. It may not you, but I would not take those chances, and I do not at all condone completely dehydrating your body of that, because your body needs it. And my uterus started contracting because of it, because I was so dehydrated. I don't really know. I wasn't really paying attention to the logistics. I'm going to be honest, when I did go into labor at 28 weeks pregnant, I was excited. I was like, I'm going to meet my baby early. I was not at all thinking about the dangers it could possibly do to my child. I was just wanting to meet him. I was done being pregnant. I never wanted to be pregnant in the first place, but I was done being pregnant. But anyways, after that whole thing went down, we went home and I slept, and the rest of my pregnancy was actually really smooth. I did not have gestational diabetes, which was lucky for me, because I ended up I failed the first blood sugar test. So I had to go in for the 3-hour test, which I did not finish. That made me sick. For a lot of women, they don't really get sick, but it's a lot of sugar to take into your body after not eating anything or drinking anything for 8 to 12 hours. I guess it really depends on the hospital that you go to. But mine was 8 hours. Mine was 8 hours. But that was a lot of sugar for my body to take in, and I don't typically eat or consume a lot of sugar in general, so that was a real kicker to my body, and I did end up puking it all up. But that was not fun at all. Like, I brought my stepmom with me, and she was supposed to drive me, and I come out of the bathroom, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Nope, we gotta go home. I can't finish the test." She's like, "Did you puke?" I was like, "Yes, I did." And it was miserable. It sucked. But other than that, I did have a really healthy pregnancy. I was very lucky. I did end up having my baby boy at 38 weeks and 4 days, I believe. I was in labor for so long. I was in labor for a crazy, 48 hours in the hospital, and that does not include how long I labored at home. So if you add how long I ended up laboring at home, because they kept sending me home, because I wasn't progressing enough, and I wasn't far enough along for them to, actually keep me in the hospital, which, it was a nurse's decision. My doctor ended up getting really mad, but I was in labor for probably 60 hours plus. That was so miserable. That was probably the worst time in my life. The only thing that made it all worth it was I did come out of that hospital with a beautiful baby boy, and just so much fulfillment in me that I had never had before, ever. Seeing my baby was the biggest moment of my life, and I loved that kid from the minute he came out. Well, of course I loved him when I was pregnant, but from the minute he came out, he was my world, and he is my world. He is everything to me. I am that crazy mom that goes and checks on him in the middle of the night to make sure he's still breathing, to make sure that, you know, he doesn't have his blanket over his face or anything like that. And just that child, he is everything to me. And if you are going through what I, like pregnancy, and you're having doubts, or there's anything going on in your life, you know, that just keep focusing on the fact that you have something beautiful coming to you, and it's ultimately going to make your life much better. At least it did for me. Like, he is 6 months old, and he is just the cutest thing, and he's just so cute. He's learning so many different things. He looks so much like me and so much like Tyler, and his laugh and his little smile with his cute little teeth. He only has these 2 bottom teeth, but it is the most adorable thing, and it is the most fulfilling thing that I have ever done in my life. And I am so grateful for, you know, to get to experience motherhood the way that I do. And in another video, I will, you know, explain my experience as a new mom. But anyways, that's good for now. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe. If you have not subscribed already, be sure to do that. And if you have not yet turned on those notifications, click that little bell at the bottom of the screen so that you know when we come out with another video. Also, comment down below any ideas for future videos, or, you know, questions that you'd like to ask. I will eventually be doing a Q&A. Follow us on my Twitter account. Currently, it is only under my name, but it is at Lakaya_Turnbull. If you have not already followed there, and be sure to share our video. Anyways, bye guys!